I teach that the self of an autistic person is also autistic. Hi, my name is Sarah Bergenfield, and I am a certified level 3 IFS practitioner. I am also an autistic, and I am the co-writer, the co-author of the upcoming book, Embodying Autism, which is the first IFS and autism book, written with the wonderful Martha Sweezy, and that comes out in January. This topic is vital for people either learning or using the model, because autistics are a high-risk population, right? So we're 3% of the population, the overall general population, but it's much more likely that you'll end up with one of us in your waiting room. Practitioners and clinicians who work with autistics, whether they know it or not, will often provide the wrong explanation for a behaviour. And even if the explanation for that behaviour is delivered with compassion and care, if it's the wrong explanation, you're not going to see the change that you're looking to see, right? So what this class does is it really helps you understand some of the sort of very stereotypical characteristics of autism. You need to understand what behaviors are coming from the hardwiring, right? So a need for routine, a need for predictability, for example, and the surprise that we feel when those things are disrupted, and how we respond emotionally to things, right? So when our parts get involved. Because if you're looking to try and affect a behavior and you're looking in the wrong place for the answer, right? The client's going to feel confused, the client's going to feel a little bewildered, the client's going to feel like they're not achieving the success that they're looking for. And so this helps you tease apart basically what I refer to as parts from neurology and learn how to distinguish between the two. So IFS works really well for autistics because we have a deep-seated sort of, we're hardwired to want to understand why something is happening. Right? That's just part of how our brains are wired. And IFS gives us a very easy to navigate framework within which we can do that. And we get to explore our parts, we hear from our parts. And, once that happens, we feel, right, we witness, right, using the IFS model, and we learn why a part believes the things it does, chooses the behaviors or the strategies that it's using, and the reasons behind that, and things start to make sense, right? And what an autistic system is always looking for is for things to make sense, whether it's, our emotional worlds or the mechanics of something or the engineering of something or the architecture of something or, the fields that you typically find very heavily laden with autistics. Psychology is one of them, by the way, so. I may have an argument with my husband because I have an expectation for something. I have an expectation, and the thing itself, right, whatever the task is that I've asked him to do, he doesn't complete it in the way that I would complete it, or the model, the rigid model that my brain has of how a task should be completed. His completion of the task doesn't look like that, right? So that's bringing in uncertainty. So instead of it looking like this, it actually looks like this. Right, so for my brain, it doesn't automatically recognize that this can also be this, right? So a non-autistic brain can adapt between those two things much more easily than a brain like mine can. So my parts might kick in by feeling the arousal in my system, right? The autistic arousal, the dysregulation in my system due to the change in expectation, and it might turn on him. I can't believe you didn't do that. I can't believe it. Or maybe it doesn't turn on him and it turns on me. You didn't explain yourself properly. Why are you not clear? You need to be clearer with people. If you were clearer with people, people would do the things that you want, right? Or perhaps it kicks up an exile. Nobody listens to me. Why does nobody ever listen to me? I try so hard and nobody ever gets it right. Right? So that's a very common example. So I think the non-pathology framework that IFS offers is really beautiful, really beautiful. And unfortunately, it's done a big disservice to people who are neurodivergent in particular, because we need to be pathologized, right? And so what we do is we pathologize the condition, because pathology offers us an explanation or a description for what's happening, right? But we don't pathologize the behavior that's caused by the condition, right? So that's where the IFS piece comes into it, right? So parts that are working really hard to reduce uncertainty in the world of an autistic person, right? We don't pathologize what they're doing, but that description or that understanding of the condition can give us a lot of information and allows us to be much more thorough in our explanations of what might be happening with somebody and in our exploration of their system. One thing I wish more IFS practitioners understood was that you can work with any system using IFS. And just because your client is autistic doesn't mean you have to be afraid of the system. The most important thing when working with an autistic system is just to be really patient. Just to be really, really patient. Right? And allow as much time and as much space as your client needs. Allow them to communicate in whatever way feels authentic to them. And just give them as much room as possible without your therapist part sort of leaping ahead and thinking, oh, well, I should be doing this, or it should look like this, right? To just sort of let all of that go. I want people to feel empowered. That's what I want, most of all. I want clinicians, practitioners to feel that they feel more confident to go in and work with an autistic system. If you're watching it as an autistic person, I want you to understand yourself a little bit more. I want to close the distance and reduce some of the mystery around it. This class is suited for anybody, really. You can be a complete beginner to IFS, or you could be an advanced practitioner who's been using the model for 20 years. And you'll learn something. That's my goal, is for everybody to walk away with something that they can use